CNBC Awaaz and India Bonds presents Bond Street.
नमस्कार, स्वागत है आपका बॉन्ड स्ट्रीट में। और हमारे साथ इस एपिसोड में एक बहुत ही खास मेहमान जुड़े हैं, के राजारामन, चेयरमैन हैं IFSCA के। मिस्टर राजारामन, बहुत शुक्रिया साथ जुड़ने के लिए। और जिस तरह से हमने बॉन्ड्स को यहाँ पर मेन स्ट्रीम में आता हुआ देखा है, 2024 में यहाँ पर अच्छी शुरुआत थी, 25 में हमने इसको सॉलिडिफाई होता हुआ देखा। अब आगे जाकर किस तरह से IFSC और गिफ्ट सिटी अपने आप को पोजिशन कर रहे हैं इंडियन डोमेस्टिक बॉन्ड मार्केट के साथ, और साथ ही साथ यहाँ पर रिटेल बॉन्ड इन्वेस्टर्स के लिए क्या कुछ है?
Let me first of all say that Gift City has the bond ecosystem here is almost like 5 years old since the exchanges have started listing bonds on their exchange. These are largely Indian corporates. I think a large number of Indian corporates, some of the largest ones, as well as mid-sized companies who have listed their bonds in the Indian in the international stock exchanges in Gift City. The NSE IX and the India INX are the two exchanges in Gift City which list these bonds. So if you look at the nature of the market, I think it is a largely institutional market, because the issuers are large corporates and the subscribers, the investors are also large institutional investors from across the world, and typically intermediated by large international banks. So if you look at the nature of the products that are available at the exchanges, they are only the Indian corporate bonds, which means that these are outside the scope of investments of resident investors. I think resident investors cannot invest in a product which originated in India. So the subscribers by definition have to be either institutions in Gift City or foreign investors, or investors such as NRIs or of those kinds. So if you look at the market which I just described, I think in 2024-25, nearly about 57 issuances happened with a total value of nearly $7 billion. The total outstanding bond issuances that have happened here as of date is about $68 billion, out of which about $16 billion are green, social, and sustainable bonds. So this is the nature of the market at this point of time. At the same time, let me also say that we expect that in some time in the future, this market will evolve into a retail market with potential for investments by retail investors as well.
मिस्टर राजारामन, जैसे आपने कहा कि अभी भी रिटेल इन्वेस्टर्स IFSC को एक इंस्टीट्यूशनल प्रोडक्ट की तरह से यहाँ पर देखते हैं, तो किस तरह के चेंजेस आप यहाँ पर आगे लेकर आएंगे ताकि गिफ्ट सिटी बॉन्ड्स को यहाँ पर इंडिविजुअल इन्वेस्टर्स के लिए भी एक्सेसिबल बनाया जा सके?
So the retail market requires certain kinds of infrastructure. The first one is obviously the ability of the system to do digital onboarding of clients from on a cross-border basis. So what we have done recently, just a few weeks back, is to enable cross-border assisted video KYC from 34 jurisdictions across the world. So which means that retail investors can perhaps use this to invest, to onboard themselves digitally on with any of the financial institutions in Gift City, and also to thereafter invest in some of the kind of products that including bonds. So we are past the first stage, and we are also working with the UIDA to enable face authentication for NRIs. So I think these are likely to happen over the next several months. So the first stage of easy digital onboarding is possible now because of video KYC. At the same time, I think we are also working on payment systems, because when you want to invest in a product, you would want to transfer money instantly and enable you to stay invested quickly. So we have now, besides the 35 banks which are present here, which out of which about 20 banks are international banks, we also have authorized nearly about 6 payment services providers which have cross-border bridges. So enabling individuals and institutions across the world to invest into the products using these payment services providers. So with the KYC and the PSPs in place, we believe that the platform for retail investing is also now in place. So as a consequence, you would have noticed that in the recent few months, I think we have seen a few retail funds also taking place. Being launched in Gift City. 2 of them are outbound. They're meant for residential investors, and one of them is for non-resident investors to invest into the Indian market. So I am sure that in course of time, Debt market funds also will get manufactured out of GIFT City, which will enable the retail market to invest in debt products as well.
और क्या कहेंगे आप, जो ये बॉन्ड इशुएंसेस हैं, अगर हम रिटेल पार्टिसिपेशन की नज़र से उसे देखें तो किस तरह के सेफ गार्ड्स, डिस्क्लोजर्स, क्या कुछ उन्हें माइंड में रखना चाहिए, किस तरह के डिफॉल्ट रिस्क्स उनको समझने चाहिए इससे पहले कि वो निवेश कर सकें?
So, as a regulator, the International Financial Services Centers Authority places great importance in investor protection. And the most important element of investor protection is to ensure that investor gets adequate information for him or her to make informed decisions. So what we have done is that from April of this year, we have mandated that all the bond issuers should mandatorily rate their bond issuances through registered credit rating agencies in GIFT City. And so some of them are also eligible to avail of international credit rating agencies as an additional rating mechanism from rating agencies who are not located in IFSCA, but located anywhere in international jurisdictions. So we also have mandated that the issuers should also disclose enough information on the use of proceeds, because obviously that gives greater visibility for the investors on how the money is getting used by the issuers. And also let me also say that the issuers are also mandated to disclose material information to the stock exchanges from time to time. And I think things which are of importance for the investors to know, such as redemption and cancellation of debt securities, details of interest payments, any buyback or put option, etc. Similarly, I think the exchanges are also mandated to disclose any instance of default, so that the investors are immediately aware of these events to enable them to make decisions.
जी, अगर हम भारतीय डोमेस्टिक मार्केट्स में बॉन्ड्स को देखें तो यहाँ पर भी टैक्सेस कम करने की बात की जा रही है, और जहाँ तक बात आती है गिफ्ट सिटी की, क्या टैक्सेस या रेगुलेटरी एडवांटेज यहाँ पर इन्वेस्टर्स को मिलती हुई नजर आती है?
So let me say that the Indian retail investor would be subject to the tax law which obtained in domestic markets. So I mean, he would be subject to taxation based on the kind of product he's investing. But if you were to look at a foreign investor who is investing into the bond market in GIFT City, then obviously one of the features of the tax policy that has been put in place by the government of India is a lower rate of withholding tax. I think at 9%, as against 10 or 15 or 20% which are available on various treaties, depending upon which jurisdiction you are investing from. So this concessional rate of 9% of withholding tax on bonds, I mean, on the interest that is payable on the bond issuances, is something which is a very attractive feature for foreign investors and non-resident Indians to use when they invest into the bond opportunities in GIFT City.
गिफ्ट सिटी और आईएफएससी का मतलब ही ये है कि इन्वेस्टर्स को यहाँ पर एक ग्लोबल एक्सपोजर मिल सके, तो ग्लोबल इशूअर्स अब हम यहाँ पर अट्रैक्ट होता हुआ देख रहे हैं गिफ्ट सिटी में। अगर इंडियन रिटेल इन्वेस्टर को यहाँ पर पार्टिसिपेट करना है, इंटरनेशनल बॉन्ड अपॉर्चुनिटीज क्या उनके लिए है, और अगर हैं तो किस तरह के रिस्क्स को ध्यान उनको रखना चाहिए?
So you're right. I think so. Today, if you look at the GIFT City ecosystem, it is both about foreign investors and NRIs investing into India, as well as resident Indians using the platforms in IFSCA to invest into global opportunities as well. So if you look at the opportunities for resident Indians, the global securities market is something which many resident Indians, especially the high net worth individuals, are interested in. So they use the global access program which has been put out by the IFSCA to using the brokers under the global access program who are located in IFSCA to actually invest into global opportunities, which includes the global bonds, international, the G-SECs issued by foreign sovereigns, and so on and so forth. So if you look at the non-resident Indians, the opportunities include things like the investing into not only the bonds which are listed in the NSE IX and the India INX, which are two stock exchanges in IFSCA, but also into downstream in debt market funds, which are operated by the Indian mutual fund ecosystem within domestic India as well. So I would say that if you look at from a risk perspective, some of these the risks which the investor should be aware of is obviously things like exchange rate risks when you are investing outward, and things like even liquidity risks in terms of especially in the bond market, because as in domestic India, there is the secondary market in IFSCA is yet to evolve, because most of the bonds which are invested into issued here are held to maturity by the investors in the IFSCA ecosystem. So therefore, I would say that there is no active bond market, and as is in most of the markets. So therefore, I think the bond market does not lend itself to a very in terms of a retail perspective. So from that perspective, we have been talking to the fund industry here to evolve ETFs and retail funds out through as an option for the secondary trading in the bond market. So I believe that these opportunities will evolve as time comes by, and once we have an active bond ETF ecosystem, then I would say that this would be a platform for retail investors to come in a big way.
ने आने वाले सालों के प्लान्स तो बताए ही हैं, लेकिन अगर हम 3 से 5 साल की बात करें तो किस तरह से आप बॉन्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट एज एन एक्सपीरियंस को यहाँ पर ट्रांसफॉर्म होता हुआ देखेंगे इंडियन रिटेल इन्वेस्टर के नजरिए से?
So, I mean, I would say that a good bond market where I would recommend that a retail investor should invest is where there is liquidity, I think, and there is transparency in the pricing. So, from that perspective, the size of the bonds which are issued also matters, because generally corporates issue large ticket bonds, I think, which are probably more relevant to institutional investors. So mechanisms such as fractionalization of bonds through either mechanisms like ETFs or using tokenization technology is also something which we are working on, and I expect that these mechanisms will evolve over the next several years. So till such time, I think it would largely remain an institutional-led market.
मिस्टर राजरामन, बहुत शुक्रिया आज हमारे साथ CNBC आवाज पर समय निकालने के लिए.
Thank you.
CNBC Awaaz and India Bonds presents Bond Street.